All rise. The Honorable Judgey Therapist, Brenay Esther presiding.
Everybody have a seat. We have so much to cover today. Now, you know that this is a reputable court of law. He said, this is a reputable court of law, okay? However, we're going to gossip today because the way this Brenay and Akira thing has had my timeline in a chokehold, yeah, we got to talk about it. I don't really have the stomach to truly cover this, so I'm going to let one of my favorite creators, Mel, if you're familiar with the Fredericks family, Kev on stage, Melissa Fredericks. She is the sister of Melissa, and she has her own platform called I'm Not a Lawyer But. Mel, please be our expert witness in this case and let us know what went down.
This is Brenay Kennard, and she's a TikTok influencer currently being sued for sleeping with her friend's husband. And I read all the legal documents, even though I'm not a lawyer. So let me fill you in on this crazy case. Like I said, her name is Brenay Kennard. She's an influencer with almost 3 million followers on TikTok. And in May of 2021, she married this man whose name is Devin. Brenay and Devin live in North Carolina, and they spent a ton of time hanging out with Devin's cousin Tim and Tim's wife, Akira. Brenay and Devin, Tim and Akira. So these two couples hang out, they go on double dates, make social media videos together, go to birthday parties, basketball games, baseball games, all the couple things. Until in January of 2024, Akira discovers a video of Brenay, her friend, and Tim, her husband, talking about things that they've done together. And yes, earlier I said Tim and Devin were cousins, so that would mean that Tim slept with his cousin's wife. Akira learns that this affair between her husband and her friend started in December of 2023 and on occasion even happened in her house when she would be asleep. After all of this is discovered, Tim and Brenay move out of the homes that they share with their spouses and into a home together.
For all who don't know, me and Devin are divorced. And another that's not a good thing, but another thing, your girl is moving.
And then a few months after that, Akira sues Brenay, alleging that as a direct result of Brenay sleeping with her husband, Akira has suffered humiliation, mental anguish, and injury to her health. She says her children are now deprived of a 2-parent household, and Akira is deprived of the love, affection, companionship, and economic support of her own husband because he's given it all to Brenay. Akira also says the fact that the two of them are flaunting this relationship all over the internet,
Trifling. Shameless.
Oh, I thought the music was going.
No, you gotta just do it. Just once.
only adds to the humiliation and mental anguish that Akira is already suffering, and so she wants Brenay to pay. Now, of course, filing the lawsuit is only the beginning step. So to prepare for trial, Akira and her attorney started sending subpoenas. They asked for Brenay's bank statements, her proof of income, her current lease, any video she has of Akira's kids, and all communications between Brenay and Tim, including text messages, videos, WhatsApp. She asked for it all. And at first, Brenay's attorney responds to the subpoenas by asking the judge for more time to gather all the documents and respond to everything. But even with the new due date, Brenay and her attorneys never send anything over. So after their deadline passes, Akira's attorney files a motion asking the judge to sanction or punish Brenay and her attorney for not responding to the subpoena, because not having that information is preventing Akira from preparing for this trial. And it's also costing her more money in attorney fees. So this request for sanctions happened on November 20th, 2024. And then the next thing that happens in this case is on January 30th, 2025, when Brenay's attorney files a motion to withdraw, like leave the case. The motion says that the defendant, meaning Brenay, wants him to withdraw. So now there's a hearing scheduled for April 1st, but a mediator has also been assigned to this case, and it says the deadline for a conference with that mediator is April 19th, and then the trial is scheduled to start on May 19th. So that's the lawsuit between the wife and the girlfriend. But remember, I said Brenay was also married. She was married to Devin, who is Tim's cousin. Well, Devin has also filed a lawsuit. His lawsuit is against his cousin, Tim, and it's for the same reasons Akira is suing for, saying that his cousin broke up his marriage. There was also a temporary custody order that was put in place to say that Akira and Tim's kids couldn't be left alone with Brenay, but Akira says that Brenay has broken that order countless times. So again, this is in North Carolina where you can sue for this kind of stuff. So I don't know.
I don't know either, girl. I don't know either. But let me tell you something. Back in 2018, I sure wish I lived in North Carolina. Now, granted, in most cases, I would say that the person that should be getting sued is the spouse. But the point of this sort of case, from what I'm learning, is that there is someone that is responsible for drawing away the affection of that spouse. And so them suing each other's spouses, in case you didn't catch that. So the husband that was cheated on and the wife that was cheated on are both suing the other party. But Akira and Brenay's case was first. I don't know when Devin and Tim's case are, but this case to me proves that children were absolutely left behind. Children were left behind. George Bush did not get all of them. Because what do you mean? We are the most unserious generation in the most unserious era. What do you mean you're being sued for, what was it, $1.2 million? And you decide to get rid of your lawyer and ask them to withdraw in a case, and then you represent yourself. And then you, who I'm sure didn't make it past the 4th grade, represent yourself in the most diabolical ways. There was one creator that I followed, Cherish. She is a wild card on TikTok, and she went to the court case to be in the galley, and Cherish specifically gave, would come back and give updates and reports. So it's not like the Young Thug trial where there's cameras in the room. She's giving these breakdowns, and y'all, things that are coming out about this case are so diabolical, but the way that Brenay is representing herself in the courtroom is just, you playing. You don't care about your life. And it tells me that she has no real intention of taking this whole experience seriously. Beginning in, I'm going to talk more about that. But the girl is just not smart. The way that she articulates herself, and especially, by the way, this is not really shade to her, because none of us without a Juris Doctorate are smart enough to really work a courtroom with a real trial and case. You need representation. The law is not written in the average everyday person's literacy ability. Even I struggle to read through documents, which, by the way, I read every single one of my documents. Unless it's like those, we've updated our terms and agreements. I really should be reading those. But other contracts that I sign, especially for business, work, things like that, where anything that has to do with my money, you better believe I'm reading it. And if I don't understand the definition of something, I'm going to look it up. But she decides to represent herself in a court case where over $1 million is at stake. And she did it poorly. Meanwhile, Akira has a full legal team. And sister girl, lawyer Robinette, I believe is her first name, did not come to play. All right? She was out of her league. There is nothing worse than your op being your friend. And the reason why, some of you may know, if you've been following me for a while, you know a little bit of my story as somebody who was previously married and experienced infidelity in my relationship, which was the cause of it ending. I feel a way about cheaters. I have a core belief that cheating is a form of abuse. Somebody can't consent to how you utilize a body that we're sharing, right? Especially if you're married, especially if you're Christian, you believe that your body belongs to one another, right? But if we are in sexual contact and you have contact with somebody else in that way, you are jeopardizing my well-being. You're not allowing me to consent to what I could potentially be exposing myself to. And it's a violation of your emotional well-being and the state and the agreement of that relationship. Cheating really should be taken that seriously. Now, it's based off of your core values. If you are poly, which by the way, you can cheat in poly relationships. Let's talk about what cheating really is. Cheating is the breaking of a pre-agreed upon understanding of the type of relationship that you have. We agree that we are monogamous. We agree that we are polyamorous, but under these guidelines, right? We can't have partners that we don't know about, that we haven't met, etc. Every relationship has guidelines. Very few relationships have everything is up in the air. I don't care how free-spirited you think you are. You have boundaries. When those boundaries are violated, it is what we call cheating. That is the term that we use for boundary violations within relationships. But the reason why cheating is uniquely harmful in relationships to a lot of people, and it's literally why I do relational trauma as my expertise, is it hits at your psyche in a particular way. What people don't realize is romantic relationships, dating relationships are the only types of relationship that almost directly reflect your primary relationship with your caregivers, right? Your mom, dad, whoever raised you as a child, whatever. They reflect your first style of attachment. And a lot of the times, the issues that you dealt with in childhood, you will see come up in your relationships. The trust that you had in childhood will extend to your relationship. And so when that relationship is violated, it hits at a core wound and a core attachment wound. Cheating is not like your everyday average experience for most people. It's not the same as your friend betraying you. Friend betrayal sucks. It hurts and it can be harmful, but it's different than somebody maybe even stealing from you, or a friend saying the wrong thing, or whatever the case may be, because it hits at, like, your brain has a hard time differentiating between the level of safety that you expected from your mom, from your dad, from your primary family, and your romantic relationship because of the level of intimacy that's involved there. Cheating is diabolical. Cheating is a horrible thing. But there is some types of cheating that excel every adjective that you can give, and the situation with Brenay and Akira and Tim and Devin is exactly that sort of case. Now, I would put my cheating story up against anybody else's, but something about this is just, it really takes me there. Because what do you mean you were having sex in your respective partners' homes? Allegedly, Brenay and Tim were sleeping in a separate room in an air mattress in her husband's house, hunching. And also in Akira and Tim's home, hunching. No boundaries, no respect. At one point, I think Brenay had needed somewhere to live, and Akira let her sleep on her couch. Whole time you hunching her husband, plotting on her husband. Apparently, there was supposed to be some sort of separation with the children and whatnot. She's not allowed to be around the children unsupervised. I believe Tim, and by the way, Tim and Akira have children together. So you didn't care about the fact that the lady had children. Brenay is not supposed to be allowed to be with Akira's children, and apparently he violated that. Allegedly having one of the kids or something like that call her mom or stepmom or whatever. She is adamant that she is the new Mrs. Montague, and allegedly maybe they're married. Akira really thought that Brenay was her friend. She covered for her. She even at a point blocked Devin, thinking that Devin was the problem in her and Brenay and Devin's relationship. Whole time she was plotting on her man. Now the man in question ain't nothing to be plotting over. I don't believe in calling people ugly, but I do believe in asking people if they can see well. Like, even for Akira, like, sister girl, you wanted to procreate with that in particular? Apparently he was unemployed, didn't work, didn't want to work. She was carrying the home on top of being a mother to children, to young children. I'm not seeing at what point he's the prize, especially for somebody to be stealing them. How you steal trash? Huh? I understand that they say one man's trash and another man's treasure, but some trash is trash no matter what bin it's in. I'm not even understanding what all the fuss and fight is about. But, at the end of the day, that's her. That's who she married. And so she has every right to have access to that man. But my goodness, I don't understand what the whole hullabaloo was about. Why she just needed to have this man so bad that she went to the lengths that she went to. And just the lack of self-respect that you have to have in order for a story like this to come about. You can't love yourself. And don't get me wrong, none of us are perfect. I got skeletons in my closet. I didn't always do the right things when it came to people, but my goodness. No remorse? The lack of remorse? Oh, you don't believe me? It's fine. Roll the clip.
She gave her consent. She said it was okay because she knew her marriage was over with.
She gave you consent to sleep with her husband. The children were left behind. I really just don't understand the level of delusion and misguidedness that one has to live in order to think that somebody would give you consent. Like, why not just then allow her to get divorced or be separated or whatever the mechanisms that they wanted to go through? So you went from, and this is how I know you lying, you went from, oh, I didn't cheat, we didn't cheat, we didn't have sex prior to the end of their relationship to now she gave you consent? Which one is it? Mind you, they've denied a lot of the evidence that's been put in from text messages where they're talking explicitly to one another, to conversations that they've had with other family members. They're denying it, but it's clear as day that they sent those text messages. I'm telling you, the level of delusion, like I wish that I could be that delusional. Maybe then I would survive this administration, but we'll see. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, what I know is, and for those of you who don't know how this ended, they won. So Akira won the case. The jury decided that they would get $1.75 million for the alienation of affection, and then another $250,000 for criminal conduct or something like that, which is like the actual act of, I think, the texting back and forth. I don't know. You do the research. But that girl has no intention on paying. She's not for real about this whole thing, because listen to what she says next.
That point, leaving Brenay Montague with a hefty bill and no answer on how she'll pay.
I don't know, but she'll probably never see it.
See? She has no intention on paying. She's probably going to pull what was that lady's name? Tasha K, with the whole Cardi B situation. Maybe if she's smart, which questionable, she'll file bankruptcy so that way they can't garnish her wages and all this other stuff. But at this point, your life, if you don't make any smart financial moves, your life is over. I don't know anybody. I personally do not know anybody who can afford to cough over $1.75 million. I don't. This is a generational bill that you will now be responsible for. And I think that she has no intent on paying, which can lead to criminal filings or them garnishing her wages for the rest of her life, which will lead to her not having any true financial prospects and the ability to have a, gainfully employed life. Even if you're just doing TikTok, they will come after that money too, and they'll be watching you like a hog because it's taxable income. This whole situation was absolutely ridiculous. I'll be interested to see how the second court case goes, but I don't know that Devin's case is as strong as Akira's case was. And per somebody in some of these news clips, some of these experts in these news clips, it is really hard to prove alienation of affection, because at what point, what can you say when a relationship kind of went downhill? In this case, it was pretty cut and dry that he was, investing in his marriage while also straying towards and closer with Brenay. All in all, here's the verdict. Akira, Devin, in the words of Queen Bee, always stay gracious, best revenge is your paper. Okay? And at the end of the day, if she pays or not, and the world knows what really went down. Move on with your life. Be free. Devin, y'all done lost some weight. He looks really good. Shout out to him. Akira is a beautiful woman. I'm sure that she will find somebody else. Allegedly, she is in a relationship. So kudos to her. To Brenay and Tim, jail! I'll see y'all next time.